Hey there, today we're going to look at how we can make a platformer with multiple levels that you travel to by collecting all the objects in one level. So I'm in GDevelop, I'm just going to go to create and create a new game. We could start with the platformer basis here, but I'm going to start with an empty project. I'm going to call this one platformer practice. And I've used all my cloud-based storage, so I need to make sure I'm saving it on my computer. It's going to auto-suggest where to save it, which is where I've saved my previous ones. And I want to optimize it for pixel art because I'm going to be using pixel art in my artworks. I'm going to go ahead and create a new game. So just so that we're aware, we auto-generate all of this. Resources, public global variables, things like that, a scene, and as we start to add more things, we can add extensions and whatnot. This is the untitled scene that we have, and it also comes with its own events. Because this is our first scene, I'm just going to rename it to level 1. Click on it to open it. And now we've got level 1 and level 1 events. In this scene, we have no objects, so we're going to add a few. We're going to be adding sprites for the player. I'm going to quickly create one with Piscal, using a circle to make his head, body, arms, eyes. Obviously, I can spend a lot of time here making a really detailed little guy, but I'm just going to make a sort of gray alien. And I just like to use the paint bucket to very quickly fill everything in with a sort of orangey jumpsuit. And white eyes. You can get really creative here and add way more detail. A quick and easy way to add detail I like to do is to get a slightly darker version and just add some shadows. So naturally with the shadows, it's underneath things like under the head, inner leg, its back arm, just under his arm a little bit. Then I'll grab my paint bucket, drop it down. For his head, I'll do the exact same thing. Grab that, get a slightly darker version, not too much, and I'll just do this bottom portion of his head. I may have gone a little bit too dark there. I'll just lighten it up a little bit. All of these darker ones. Boom. Just to add some very quick shading effects. I wanted to give him some little bags under his eyes. Maybe add some wrinkles. So on and so forth. But that's a quick way to add some little bit of detail to your guy. Alright, save him. He is my character. This is going to be his idle animation. Him just standing still. Now, for a character in a platformer game, they need to have the platformer character behavior. It's given a bunch of stuff here. I'm not going to change any of these, but I am also going to add a keyboard remapper for a platformer. Platformer keyboard remapper. Mainly because I want to be using the W, S, A, D keys, and I'll be using space to jump. This isn't necessary, but it's just more comfortable for me. The default is to use the arrow keys to move. This will make it so that you can use the default controls and these remapped controls here too. So now I've got my player. I need to add 2 more things. A collectible. something that they want to collect. Easiest way here is just to make a coin, big circle, and put a darker yellow sort of $sign on it. Obviously your collectible could be anything, but this is just the quickest and easiest one for me to draw. It's not going to have any behaviors, it's just going to exist. And then I'm going to make an enemy. This is going to be something that eventually will move, but for now it will just be if I touch it, I die. Or the level restarts. I'll just create sort of a little ghost. Oops. Okay, little ghost. Ghosty blob guy. Make him red because he's dangerous. Give him some eyes. Similar to the collectible, he's not going to have any behaviors right now either. These are all the sprites I need, but I am going to make one more thing called a tiled sprite. I'm going to make this 64, oops, look, 64 by 64. Jeez, let's quickly make that again. Just because it's such a basic sprite, it does not take long to quickly whip it up. It's even better if this lines up with this, but it doesn't quite. You can see what it will look like tiled up here. Cool. Behavior-wise, this does need a behavior. It needs to be told that it is a platform. Okay, to set up the scene, we should be able to click and drag. If for some reason you can't, you can always click on the triple dot and select Add Instance to Scene. That will add it in. Because this is tiled, if I resize it, it's not going to stretch, it's going to create more. That includes going up and down, so I want to not be doing that, just going across. Sweet, so I want a couple platforms so that I can jump around a bit. So I'll set up another one, and then a final one up here. Now, if I'm going to be introducing jumping, I should introduce what is called a kill box. What a kill box will be is if I touch it, I restart the level. I am going to be creating this for now as just a big red box. Later on, I'll be hiding it so that I can't see it. Kill boxes are best put under the level, and we can stretch this because it's just a big red box. This should mean that if I, for any reason, fall off, I die. Cool. So now I need a few collectibles. I'll add a couple in. I'll add in 1, 2, 3, and I will add a single enemy right here. Alright, if I preview my game, I should be able to land and walk around, but touching anything does nothing at the moment. Yeah, I can land, I can use the WASD keys to walk around. Notice that I can't quite jump high enough, so I either need to lower these platforms or increase my jump height. And I'm also not flipping when I go back and forwards. So let's fix those quickly. I want to increase my jump height, so my platformer option, so if I change this to 9, apply, then preview it again. By increasing the jump speed, it's how quickly I go up. I'm a little floaty on the way down, so I might increase the gravity as well. But just making sure I can make all of these jumps, and they are possible. Alright. Okay, so let's add some behaviors to this. Now, I'm going to be adding a few behaviors. Behaviors work with when a condition is met, do a thing. When a key is pressed, if that key is D. No, sorry, if the key is left. Nope. If it's the right key, we got there in the end. I want to be flipping an object horizontally. The player. Okay, I'm going to have this exact same thing, but change it to if the left key is pressed. So because he is facing right at the beginning, flip horizontally, no. Yes. So what I should see now okay, so it works with the arrows. I need to also make it work with A and D. So what I can do is I can add a OR statement here. If right key is pressed, or D. I can do the exact same thing. Move it down here. If left key is pressed, or A. So now he is moving back and forwards depending on the way I'm facing. Now I added that kill box. I want to make it so that if my player has a collision with the kill box, then I want to change the scene to the current scene. So what I see now is, as I walk around, if I fall off the edge, I hit the kill box and it reloads the scene. What I will set up is at the beginning of the scene, I want the camera to be, its X position to be on the player X, and its camera Y position to be set to player dot Y. So this will happen at the beginning of the scene. If we watch this now, this guy was in the middle, and then obviously he fell. I need it to follow him around. So what I can do is I can get rid of at the beginning of the scene. Without a condition, this is an all the time condition. So now it's always going to be putting him in the middle. Now I want him to be a little bit lower. So what I'll do is instead of just being camera.y, it'll be camera.y plus, let's try plus 100. So let's put him a little bit higher. We want to go minus, and we'll make it a bit more extreme. We'll go minus 500, just to see what it's going to look like. Oh, too much. Now he's off the bottom of the screen. And we're just playing around, finding one that works nicely. Minus 300. Now he's exactly on the bottom of the screen. We don't want it that much, so we'll try it minus 100. Okay. There we go. Like I said, I will make the kill box invisible later on. So this big red line here won't be here forever. Cool, let's do some last minute setup. I want to add a text object. So if I find text, this is going to keep track of the score output. Because there's going to be lots and lots of objects, I want to preface this with txt underscore. So I know that this is a text object that keeps track of the score output. I can choose a font if I would like. If you have any downloaded, you can select from a file on your device. I have some on my downloads, ABC Profit being one. And then I can choose what the text is going to say. At the moment, I'll just leave it saying text. I'm going to drag this into my scene. It's a little small, so I'm going to come over here again, and this is going to change every piece of text. The size is not going to be 20, I'm going to change it to 80. Apply. There you go, so now that's quite big. If I preview it again, oh no, the text is stuck up there. Because this is called the base layer, this is something that exists within the scene. What I want to do is I want to add a new layer. So I'm going to add a layer, and I'm going to call this new layer UI. I want the text object, oops, text, there it is, not to be on the base layer, but instead to be on this UI layer. If I play it now, this text is stuck on the UI, which is a higher layer, so it's always going to be there. It's locked to the screen, so it's always on the screen. Alright. Set up a new all the time condition. I want that text to be set to a variable. Now, I don't have a variable made just yet, but I'm going to make one called the score. I'll just leave it like that. Score does not exist. So let's set up at the beginning of the scene. There is a variable, change a variable, called score. Now, this would give me a list of variables, but I don't have any, so I'm going to add or edit the variable. It's going to automatically add what I typed in, score, of type number, and I'm going to start it at 0. So at the beginning of the scene, change the score to 0, and now I can see here, change the text output to score. This is no longer underlined. So now it's saying 0 up here. Now I want to collect these. So when my player has a collision with the collectibles, I want to change a variable value. I've got it only one variable, so score, and I want to add 1. Just have a look at this now. As I run into this, I'm touching it, but it's going up forever. So after I touch a collectible, I also want that collectible to get deleted. Now it's 1, 2, and he's not actively on at the moment, so I can jump into him. 3. If I reset the level, we go back to 0, and these all respawn. Okay, let's make it so that that enemy is dangerous to us. If my player has a collision with the enemy, at the moment, I'm going to make it so that he immediately kills me, which will be the same as changing the scene back to level 1. So I can copy that, come down here and paste it. Paste, there you go. Change scene to level 1. So now he acts the same way as the kill box down there. If I touch him, the scene is reset. We could add a health characteristic, and we'll do that later, but for now, we'll just have him instantly kill us. Now, I've done a lot of setup in this level, And I want the next level to be similar in how it works. I don't want to have to rewrite all of this again. So what I can do is I can go to my triple line, find this scene, and I can select duplicate. This one is going to be called level 2. Level 2 here is identical, so I'll just change it up a little bit. Just so that visually it is quite different. There we go. So now playing level 2. Still works the exact same. I've got a score that goes up. I got an enemy that resets the level, but it reset me back to level 1. So what I need to make sure I've done here is that in level 2's events, I'm not changing back to level 1. I'm changing to level 2. Alright. Now, if I collect all of my points, I want to go from level 1 to level 2. So let's add an event. If my variable value of score is equal to, and I currently have 3 coins, I'll set it to 3. Then I want to change the scene to level 2. Alright. I could set this up here in level 2, but currently there's not a next level to go to. So let's test this out. I start off, I'm in level 1, I get 1, 2, now this is the tricky part because I've got to get the third one. Oh. We'll just cheat very quickly just to make sure it works. 1, 2, 3. I got all 3 and now I'm in the next level, level 2. 1, 2, 3. This one doesn't have a condition for if I get all 3, go to the next level or anything like that. So it just gets, it just ends. Just to tidy this all up, we're going to make one more scene. We've got level 1, level 2. I'm going to add a scene, and I'm going to call this the start scene. I want this to be the very first scene, so I'll move it way up to the top. In the start scene, I'm going to have some text. This is going to be txt underscore title. Select that same font, and it will be game title. I'll make it size 150, so it's really, really big. And then I'll add a couple of buttons. Now, buttons you'll find under user interface. We've got a few different options here. I'm going to select panel sprite button. I get a bunch of default buttons. I can change these later, but at the moment I'm just going to select this one here. Cool. So now I've got this big long button. Let's just open it up. I'm going to call this one btn underscore, so I know it's a button. And this is going to be for my start game. Oops. I can change the font. And later on I can change the background, but I'll just leave that as the default. Alright, it says button, I'm going to have it say start. So let's drag that out. Now I have my start game button. I want almost the exact same thing, so what I can do is I can duplicate this, and I'm going to call this one btn exit. Okay. And I will write exit. Now I want these to be different objects because they have different they do different things. So the events are pretty simple. Add an event. If this button here is clicked, then I want to change the scene to level 1. If this button here is clicked, then I want to quit the game. Alright, let's quickly preview that. If I hit exit, the game quits. If I hit start, we go into level 1. So now we've got the basics of how to create collectibles, how to create, how to reset the level upon touching dangerous objects, and a very basic start menu. What we'll have a look at next time is making the enemy more interesting. We'll make it move around, and we'll add a few more abilities for our player to be able to do.